Alright, documenting the mileage. Since I changed the transmission fluid, we're looking at 114,000. So basically at 115,000 miles is when we had this bad boy serviced for the transmission. Alright, here's the Lincoln Air, a 2017 MKZ Hybrid. This has a 2.0-liter Duratec 4-cylinder in it. And what we're going to do today is change the transmission fluid. And since Ford has so many different variations of the Mercon, I always put AMS oil on my cars, but there's 4 different variations of Mercon. You got low viscosity, which is the newer one, and they got the ULV, which is ultra low. So instead of going with AMS oil, I just decided to go with Ford this time. And on this Lincoln, I'm hoping, because I bought this is one of the highest mileage Lincolns in the nation. I bought it with 100,000 miles on it. I bought it in cash and I flew to Michigan to get it. This was a fleet vehicle. So when I changed the oil on it the very first time, I didn't notice a drain plug for the transmission. So I finally found it, and here, I'll show you what it looks like. It's underneath here. So once you go ahead and get the, under shield off. So usually a drain plug is like on the bottom of this. I couldn't find it at all. Here's where it is. This little Allen key right here is the drain plug for the transmission. So Ford says this is a not serviceable transmission. It says at 150,000 is when you service it. I'm hoping, since this is a fleet vehicle, that this has been serviced before, but it's looking, as I'm looking at this nut, it doesn't look like it's been serviced at all. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out the transmission fluid, take a look at it. And then the fill hole, if you're wondering where that's at, it's this right here. So that nut right there. So this is kind of just like a differential. Instead of, you know, filling the fluid in up in the top of the engine, all you're going to do is you're going to drain it out of here and then put the plug back in, and then you pump the fluid in here until it starts to pour out, and then you know it's full, and then put that back on. So let's go ahead and yeah, let's change out this transmission fluid. I currently have 114,000 miles on the Lincoln. Yeah, I should have changed the fluid at 100 right when I bought it, but I couldn't find the drain plug. So now that I found it, I'm going to go ahead and change it. And am I worried about this causing issues? No. It'd cause more issues if you don't change it. And if you are worried about it, with Scotty Kilmore's, it's, you know, if you change it with high mileage, it's going to slip on you. Well, if that's true, it's already in bad shape to begin with. So I'm willing to put the fluid in to make sure it isn't in bad shape. I've done this before. I changed it on a Prius with 200,000 miles. I had no issues. So let's spray some WD-40 on this and let that soak for a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and pull the plug. All right, let's go ahead and take this 3/16 Allen wrench. I went ahead and put some WD-40 on this and already loosened this up. So I'm curious to see, after watching the YouTube videos on the Mercon LV, it gets black after like 5,000 miles. It's very common. So I'm curious to see how black this is. Holy shit, it's red. Yes. Yes, I cannot believe it's red. Look at that. Yes. That means it's been changed. Thank you, Jesus. Woo. All right, I got a good buy on this. Thank God. You can tell this is, so it's got 114,000 miles. There's no way that's the first time it's ever been changed, because take a look at it. It's red as shit. So that means that somebody else changed it before. So yes. So I got a bulletproof hybrid again. The reason I say bulletproof is because I used a little beater Prius, bought it 200,000 miles, changed the transmission fluid on it, ran it all the way up to basically 250,000 miles, and sold it for $1,000 more than I paid, and its transmission ran perfectly fine. So if I got this one early at 100,000, all these hybrids, with ease, they can make it to 300, 400,000 miles. Obviously you need a battery, but other than that, it's good to go. So this is my cheap Mercedes. All right, while we let that drain, you're gonna put some of this thread sealant, which I've never used on a drain plug before, but that's what the factory service manual calls for, it seems like. So just put a little bit on this transmission drain plug, and we're tightening it up. And you only tighten it up to 6 foot-pounds, which is barely anything at all. So let's go ahead and, it's drained enough. Let's go ahead and put the plug back in and then fill her up with fluid. All right, on this thread, you're not gonna put it all over the entire thread, just the beginning of it. So none of it gets into the transmission at all. You don't risk it. So just put a little bit. Motherfucker, god damn it. Why wouldn't they just use a regular volt anyways? This is retarded. So right here's the drain plug. You take a 14mm socket and go ahead and loosen that up. And there you go. There's the drain hole. And that's where you fill the fluid in this little hole right here. So here's the kit that I bought, this little hand pump. Alright, and then I went ahead and put the clear tube into the fill hole, and then we're going to pump the fluid in. Alright, here you go, and you're going to pump in until this hole, fluid starts coming out of it, then you know it's full. So the capacity on it is 4.5 quarts, according to the service manual. So I bought 5 of these, so let's go ahead and start pumping all these in, and then once you see the red fluid start to come out of the hole, that means it's completely full and topped off. So let's get to pumping. So as soon as it starts draining out like that, you know it's completely full. All right, go ahead and put the plug back in and snug it back down, and you've completed changing the transmission fluid. Congratulations.